Katz's Corner here on ESPNU. I'm joined by Ray McCallum, the head coach of Detroit, and Ernie Ziegler, the head coach of Central Michigan. Now, the two of you, very unique situation here. You both had sons that were highly recruited. I didn't want to have Ben Howland here from UCLA. He would have wanted both your sons, but we didn't have him on the show here. How difficult a decision, and you can play off each other here, for your sons and for the two of you to coach your sons when Ray Jr. was looking at whether or not play for you or go to a school like UCLA, and when Trey was looking at the same kind of decision?
Well, I think I go back a year ago. Ray really wanted to go through the process, and he had worked hard to put himself in position to be a high major player, and that's the way he wanted it. That's the way his mom wanted it. So I didn't recruit him, and as a parent, I put on the dad hat and just kind of went through the process and met all the coaches and tried to help him evaluate as the process went on to the end.
And Ernie, how did you handle it?
Well, Ray alluded to it. When kids have the opportunity to be recruited by some of the best universities in the country, and with the basketball traditions that were, some of the schools that were recruiting Trey, we had to give him that opportunity to see if that's something he wanted to do. And as he went through it, he felt really privileged to have those opportunities, and you just wanted your kid to have opportunities. And because college basketball is such a business, a lot of people say, well, hey, why you guys just didn't say he was coming to play for you, last year this time? Well, you just don't know where you're going to be. You don't know what's going to be best for your child. And at the end, we just feel really blessed that, we have this opportunity to do something we really love to do together.
Now, how close are the two sons?
Really close.
Really close.
Really close.
You know how these kids are. They've probably been texting. They probably text every day. I mean, they hang out all the time. I mean, Trey comes to my house, and they're in constant communication. And I think we go back. Trey came to your basketball camp.
They've been friends. They first met when they were 5-6 years old. When Ray was head coach at Ball State, I was an AAU coach and high school coach, and brought some kids down to Ray's camp and worked the camp. And that's when Trey and Ray first met. And Trey's been when Ray was at IU. Trey went to their elite camp and stayed with the McCallums. I mean, they've really tight guys.
So how much did they talk about these decisions of playing for you guys respectively?
Well, I think they talked all the time, and a lot. They were on the same AAU team last summer, and so they were together all of July. And again, when Trey comes down to Detroit to play, and he hangs out with Ray, and so they played in all-star games together. So I think it's something that they kind of plan. Their announcement, they kind of plan together.
But how much did you recruit Trey and did you recruit Ray?
I think Ernie and we just kind of talked about it, just kind of hoped it was going to work out the way it did.
Well, when you look at the kids spent so much time together. I mean, they won a couple of championships together last summer for Team Detroit. They play in the Derby Classic together, and I tell people all the time, I think that they had like a clandestine little meeting there in Louisville before when he came back home. That's when I finally realized what he wanted to do. I think it really went down to the wire there in terms of am I going to stay home? Am I going to go to, UCLA, Michigan State?
So when you're recruiting your own son, you don't really have to deal with much out of, the inner circle. How unique is this that if they progress the way they potentially could, if they got to deal with, runners or agents or things like that, you guys have been at high levels. I mean, how much do you anticipate having to sort of fend off anything, when you are the dad and you are the coach?
Well, I think, people look at situations, and they know which situations they can, if you're someone that's into looking for someone that's maybe a little weak in one area or another to take advantage of when you speak of runners and agents or those things. I think guys, know that, Ray and I are really class guys, and if you're going to try to become involved in a situation, you're going to go about it the right way. And, there was no way anyone was going to circumvent anything that's going on in our family, where as close as Trey and I are.
Now, how do you use Ray to help you challenge Butler next season in the Horizon League?
Well, Butler's not going away, and everyone's looking up at them. But I think that's a challenge for us all. Butler's brought great recognition to our conference, and it's definitely a game that hopefully your network will carry this year in Callahan Hall. I think he's going to have an opportunity to play against the best. And I think as we went through the year and watched Butler play, and he was being recruited by a lot of the high majors, that Butler was knocking off. And I think that kind of helped as well. It's like, hey, Butler is in our league, and they're beating the UCLAs and the Ohio States and top 25 teams and programs.
How does Trey take Central Michigan to the top of the map?
Well, for us, it's been a process. Prior to Trey getting here, we've been making a steady climb and making ourselves having a sustained level of competitiveness in our conference. And our conference the MAC is one of the toughest in that it's so competitive. We're all like this close. So hopefully for us, Trey, along with our incoming class, will give us a chance to continue to compete at the top of our conference. And when you look at the success that Northern Iowa's and the Davidsons and Butler and all those different programs have had, you know that the opportunity is there to seize. And hopefully for us, we can have that opportunity along the way. We're going to have a lot of tough games. We have to play against Detroit. Hopefully we can get that game on the ESPN network.
That sounds great.
Well, keep an eye on Trey Ziegler at Central Michigan, Ray McCallum Jr. at Detroit coming up this season in 2010.